So you went from like 1 flip to 30 flips in 6 months?
6 months. Yeah.
Damn. What's like the most amount of money you made in 1 year flipping and wholesaling?
Probably like 1.3, 1.4.
So how did you find the deals? How did you fund them? Like, and then how did you manage all the construction?
Yeah. So
Ruby from South Carolina. How's it going?
it's going wonderful.
There we go.
Great. Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
I know you are a big time flipper, real estate investor. So for people who don't know who you are, can you give us your quick backstory?
Yeah. So a little bit of my background. I started invested about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And before that, I was a remodeler. I had a remodeling business.
Okay.
Construction. And before that, I was actually in restaurants.
Oh, okay.
So restaurants, construction, and then real estate.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's after I heard that over 90% of millionaires, they become so by real estate. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my goodness, like I need to be in real estate.
Got it. So when did you start feeling like you wanted to get into real estate or thinking? Yeah.
So when I had the remodeling business, I was flipping mobile homes.
Okay.
Yeah, and for other companies. And got to the point where I was like, hey, we can be doing this ourselves.
Yeah.
So we started to flip mobile homes for ourselves, my husband and I. And it was really easy. It was just a title, you know, just buying a property. Buying a mobile home, doing maybe $7,000 in renovation, and then reselling it. And we used to net about the same thing, 7,000. But it was really easy. We were in and out like in less than 1 month.
Got it.
And so at one point, I was tired of everything. I was spending so much time working in the business.
Yeah.
I was waking up around 4 a.m. I was dropping my kids with my mom. And I was coming back home around 8 p.m., 10.
Damn.
And some days even like 12. Like we needed to finish projects
Okay.
for ourselves and for our clients. And I told my husband, like, hey, this is not what I want to do. You know, like this is,
Oh, really?
I'm tired. Like I want to see my kids at night. You know,
Yeah.
I want to be able to spend more time with them. And so, yeah, got to the point where I was like, we got to do something new. Like we got to start something different. And he said, well, because I'm more like the paperwork person, the one who does, you know, the estimates, the one who's out there. And he was more like the management side of the company, you know, of the construction and remodeling and all of that. And he said, Ruby, well, it's up to you, you know, like whatever you want to do, you're the one who's feeling, you know, like this, and I'll support you. So if you want to do something different, we'll figure it out. We'll find something new.
Yeah.
And so that day, I made that decision. I was like, perfect. He stepped out from our home, and I grabbed my phone, and I called a company that used to give us like over 80% of the business. And I said, hey, you know what? It's over. Like, you know, I'm closing my doors. So we'll finish the projects that we have with you right now, but we're not doing this anymore. Like, you know, we're going to shut close our doors. And she was like, no, Ruby, like we have so many homes, you know. And so that was the end of that. I finished that. My husband walks in and he was like, what did you just did?
Yeah.
And I was like, we're done. Like, we're done, you know? And then we started, like, high-fiving each other, and we started, like, dancing. And, you know, we got so excited about, like, not having a job anymore, basically.
You're like, we're unemployed.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
We did it. Until, like, 5 minutes after, you realize, like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's almost December, the end of the year. What happened to all the goals that we put together?
Yeah.
Because we had like a big list of goals. Like we're going to hit $1 million, you know, like all these goals that we had for the following year. We recently purchased our home. We put a big down payment to make that happen. I paid off my car, like $30,000 for my car that I had at that time. And then we were unemployed. Like we didn't know what to do right after. And then we start hearing about how to flip houses. with $0. And we were like, wait, this is perfect for us. Like, you know, $0.
$0? You got me at $0.
Yes, if it's $0, I'm all in. And it was a free event. So we went to the free event.
When was this?
That was in 2017.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, 2017, probably around December.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we went to this event. We were all excited. They teach us a lot of things, right? And we were like, hey, we need to do this. And then they sold us a 200 ticket for 2-day event.
Okay.
And then we were like, let's do it. Like, it's totally worth it. You know,
You're
more
just in the funnel.
information. Yeah. Like, once we're done, you know, with that 2-day event, like, we're going to be house flippers. Like,
yeah.
And so we went to the event. The event was almost over. And then they started the sales process, right?
Yeah.
If you want coaching, if you want one-on-one, you know,
Yeah.
like all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I think we need this. And my husband was like, yeah, like, you know. And I told my husband, like, hey, if it's $1,000, you know, because we just paid $200. So I was like, if it's $1,000, can we do this?
Yeah.
Like, is this something that we can do? And he says, yeah, let's do it, you know.
It's
So
like
at that
20
time, we
grand.
had like $30,000 in our bank account.
Okay.
And we were very successful in that remodeling business. However, we were very bad at administrating,
Okay.
like very bad.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things that, you know, have changed. It's the mindset, you
Yeah.
know, of how you do things, especially with money now. But back to the to that day, I told my husband was like, yeah, we can afford $1,000. And then I said, what if it's like $5,000, you know?
Yeah.
Can we still do it?
Yeah.
So 30 minus 5, 25. He was like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, hey, if it's 10,000, you know? And he was like, Ruby, like, how about don't say anything? You know,
Yeah.
just wait. And we'll go from there. Like, when they call us, right, then we'll find out. And he was like, okay. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So they call our names. We go to the back.
Uh-huh.
And we sit down with the salesperson.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, so here's the deal. We have a $30,000 package. We have a $40,000 package, and then a $50,000 program. You know. And I was like, oh my goodness,
This is
like
hilarious.
I only have $30,000. Like I can only afford the $30,000.
They're like, perfect. Then you get.
yeah, like this is the perfect thing for me. Like, you know, $30,000, and then I'll walk away with no money.
Yeah.
Don't know, you know, what's next.
But you can flip houses with $0, so it's
right,
perfect.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's perfect. Like I'm gonna learn with $0. That's totally fine. However, that was way too much of our expectations. Like we were expecting like
1,000.
10, 15, maybe 15 the most.
Yeah.
Obviously, 1,000 was our first number that we shoot for. But my husband didn't say a word, and I was just looking at him like, you know, like, are you gonna say something? Is that a yes or no? Like. He didn't say anything, so I was like, we'll think about it, because it was a 2 or 3 day event, but we were in our we're 1 day prior to the last one, and so I told the person like, hey, we need to think about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, let me know tomorrow. You know, we'll be here tomorrow. It's our last day, and I was like, okay, perfect. We walked to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Walked to the hotel, went to the room. We didn't say a word to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Guess we were just kind of like thinking, like, what are you thinking, right? Like kind of like in our minds. We sat down like on the end of the bed, and my husband was like, what are you thinking? I was like, no, what are you thinking? Like we were just kind of like back and forth, like, what are you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he was like, Ruby, do you want to do it? Like, are you excited about it? Do you really want to do it? And I was like, yeah, like I want to do it. Like, you know, this is perfect for us. Like, you know, we're going to be able to learn something way different, you know? Mm-hmm. And he was like, okay, well, let's do it then.
Oh.
And I was like, perfect, let's do it. We high-five each other. We were so happy we were, you know, starting this new journey. And then I don't even know why I asked this question, but I was like, which one are we going to get? The 30, the 40, or the 50? And I don't even know.
You're crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know why I asked
You're a crazy
that question.
person.
Knowing that I only had, you know,
yeah.
$30,000, and that was it. And he says, let's go for the 50.
Oh, he's crazy too then.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah,
He's
he's
more
really crazy.
Yeah, he was like, let's go for the 50K. And I was like how? Where are we going to get, where are we going to get the other $20,000? And then he says, we're going to sell your car.
Damn.
And I was like, wow. Like my car, my dream car. At that time, it was a Chevy Suburban.
Yeah.
I always wanted one. And so I said that when I purchase one, I'm going to probably pay off my car and it's going to be all mine.
Yeah.
That was like my mindset, back then. And so my car was paid off. I owed probably like $25,000 or something. I'm sorry, like $30,000. I can't remember how much, but anyway, that day, before I actually went to the seminar, I paid off my car. So I told my husband, you know what, let's do it. I'll sell my car. We went to sell our car.
Damn.
And they gave us $25,000. Obviously, you're not going to get retail anymore.
Yeah.
And so we went back the next day, and we were like, hey, we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, which one are you going to get? We're going to go for the 50K.
So you sold your car that day?
The next day.
The next day?
Yeah. So that day we agree, right,
Yeah.
that we were going to sell our car. We went back. To the seminar. We told this person, like, hey, we only have $30,000 in a bank account. We're going to sell our car.
Yeah.
And we're going to make up those other $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
He was like, you guys are crazy. Like, don't sell your car. Like,
Yeah.
just get the $30,000. You can upgrade later.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like, if we're going to go all in, like, we're just going to go all in.
You guys are
we're
savages.
Completely in debt.
I love it, yeah.
And I think that was one of the reasons, that motivated me to actually do it.
Yeah.
Like, burn the ships. Like, I'm going to go all in.
Yeah.
And so the next day, and he was like, okay, that's fine. We'll take the $30,000 deposit.
Yeah.
We'll do when can you do the other $20,000? I was like, in a few days. We're going to go and sell a car, like, literally today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We went to clean the car. We take it to different dealerships. One was offering 18, 20. One said 25K, and I said, well, this is perfect. Let's grab the check.
Mm-hmm.
We walk away with the 25K check. We put it on the bank account.
Yeah.
We pay it off, and we had $5,000,
Damn.
to leave for, me, my husband, and my 2 girls.
Dang.
With a brand new house,
Damn.
and no car.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how
you got into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, okay, you paid $50,000 for this program,
Yeah.
which most people wouldn't have the guts to do, or a lot of people. I don't think my audience believes that you should invest in real estate, or I'm sorry, in education. But
Right.
There's a big group of people who are like, oh, you can go on Bigger Pockets or YouTube and learn for free.
Yeah, they call it YouTube University.
Yeah, YouTube University. And you can learn a lot,
Uh-huh,
but obviously with education, you can get a lot further,
It's not the
faster.
same.
So what happened? You got the education. How quickly did you actually start flipping houses?
So actually, my first year, I flipped one house,
Okay.
and I did flip the house with $0 out of
Okay.
pocket. So definitely learned how to flip with $0. I had a partner with me. She was the one who brought all the funds, and it didn't went well.
Okay.
So we our profit was like $2,000. We cut that
Okay.
in half. So we made
Oh.
$1,000 each.
You made $1,000
Yes,
on your first flip?
$1,000 on
Damn.
my first flip. And but I mean, obviously you learn every property, right? But
Yeah.
I definitely learned not how to flip properties with that property. And I did. The cool thing was that I also learned how to wholesale. So I was doing wholesaling. Like I did
okay.
wholesaling. I did like probably like 6, 7
Wholesale
wholesales.
deals?
Yeah.
Your first year?
Yeah, my first year.
Oh, so you did like 6 to 7 wholesales,
And
but,
then
and then
one
you
flip.
one flip.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
And-
still good. So then how much did you make wholesaling your first year?
Probably about close to like 80,000 or so.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the thing. Like, my mindset was like, go and build cash.
Yeah.
Like go get some cash, then you can do your first flip, and that's how I did it.
Yeah.
But when I went to do my first flip, I didn't even need the cash. You know?
Yeah, because you raised it from your friend.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things, you know, when it comes to like the mindset, you
Yeah.
know, like we hold ourselves from doing something
Yeah.
because we think that we need to do like some other steps before actually jumping in. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like most of the people, like you said, they think like maybe, you know, they get stuck in learning,
Yeah.
you know, and they never go and do something.
100%.
And so that was the same thing with me in my first year. I was like, I need to start cash, like maybe $50,000,
Yeah.
and to go and do my first flip. And then one of the things that I learned that year, and it was like by the end of the year, when I was like, hey, like I'm not getting a flip yet. I don't have enough cash because the cash that was coming in, I had to pay my bills, you know, I had to pay for my house, my expenses, my utilities, like all of that. And so I went to this class. It was like a local network class that I went to. It was not a class. It was just like a meetup or something. And we were listening to this couple that were very successful in real estate. And I asked them like, hey, you know, what's one thing that you will, if you were to give me an advice for someone who's just getting started, like what is that thing?
Yeah. The most basic question you could ask somebody.
Yes, the most basic
I hate when people
question,
ask me that question.
And honestly,
Yeah.
I think the answer that they gave me has helped me tremendously. Like it has been I think my first top 3 of my success.
Okay.
And she said, Ruby, here it is. If you never ask, the answer will always be no.
Okay.
So you need to learn how to ask.
Yeah.
And I mean like everything. Like ask agents, ask people, ask sellers, you know, like anything. And I was like, but the main thing that she was referring to was private money lending.
Okay.
And I said, perfect.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to go and I'm going to ask. So that's how I did my first flip. The day that when I was in this seminar, I met other people that jumped into the program and some people that didn't.
Yeah.
But I collected their information. Like, you know, we network. And so when I got my first flip, I actually called those people.
Okay.
Because sometimes we think like, oh, we have to have money ourselves, or we have to, our parents or our, and
friends.
sometimes we would think like,
Yeah.
you know, some people say, okay, well, I don't have any money, or no one that I know has money, right?
Yeah.
No one has anything. And so it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
It has, you know, you can go and look for new people to network with. So that's exactly what happened to me. I gathered their information. I had my first flip and I called them. I was like, I'm going to ask. The worst that I can get is a no, and I'm going to move on. So I called them. I asked them like, hey, you know, I have this first flip. I know, you know, I met you there, and I was just wondering if you were interested in, you know, maybe doing this as a joint venture with me. Yeah. And I got some no's, and but I got a one yes.
Okay.
And she was like, hey, Ruby, let's do it. I'm not there. Like, I can't do, I'm not, I don't have the time, but I have the funds.
Okay.
So I'll bring all the funds. And that was our first flip, which we made $1,000, and we were happy. We were like, at least we didn't lose money.
Yeah, yeah. And you learned.
For the first flip, I mean, a lot of things can go wrong in your first flip, but yeah, definitely was worth it.
So what about the next year? So you flipped one house, and then you did 7 or 8 wholesale deals. What'd you do the next year?
So the next year, the first year, I figured that I was spending way too much time. Like knocking doors, putting bandit signs.
Yeah, how are you getting your wholesale deals?
Yeah, so I used to do off-market campaigns.
Okay.
So like all the type of campaigns that you can imagine: door knocking, door hanger, like magnet signs, Uber, like everything.
And where was this?
Where?
What market?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And but 4 years from about 4 years, maybe a little bit more, I've been doing MLS.
Okay.
So 80% of our deals, they come through the MLS. The other 20 are by wholesalers or by pocket listings or off market with the real estate agents.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So the second year, I was like, wait, the first year I did a lot of marketing. I was spending a lot of time. And I was like, I need to find a team. I need to start, doing something different so I can, go a little bit farther with that following year. And then so I hired 2 people in my team for acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
They used to do all my mailing campaigns. They used to do my bandit signs.
Got it.
And then those first 6 months, we did about 30 transactions.
Dang.
And I was like,
The first 6 months of the year?
Yes.
Okay, so you went from like what? Those flips or wholesales?
Those were actually all of them were fix and flips. Yeah.
So you went from 1 flip to 30 flips in 6 months?
6 months.
So it took you 1 year to do your first flip, and then
to learn how not to do it. Yeah.
And then
and then
in the next 6 months, you did 30 flips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Damn.
And that
how many total flips have you done?
We have done altogether over 500.
500 flips, and how many
altogether.
wholesales?
Wholesales. Well, no, it's all together.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
altogether, flips and wholesales
500
over
transactions.
500.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back. So 6 months, you start flipping like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find the deals? How did you fund them? And then how did you manage all the construction?
Yeah. So as far as the management side, when I did those first 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait, this is taking a lot of my time because and it's
Nah,
all
Ruby.
time.
Nah. Flipping 30 houses at a time? It's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, it was because I think it's because I always go back to where I started
Yeah.
and why. And
Okay.
and so my why was I wanted more time with my
You want
family.
freedom, yeah.
Yeah. And that was the reason why I signed up for real estate.
Yeah.
That was the main reason why I, put those $50K and
Yeah.
I quit my other job and fired myself and all of that. And so when I did this, transactions that following year, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Where's my time and everything? Because
Mm-hmm.
I thought that hiring 2 people was going to give me more time freedom,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't.
Yeah.
And I was working with them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in every business, right? You have to build it. You have to be there.
Yeah.
But I was managing them 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
If we had some calls, they needed my help because they needed training.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. And
It's like running a business.
yeah.
You gotta train the employees.
Exactly.
You gotta answer the phone. You gotta
And I don't
show
want
up.
to-
Yeah, you're like, what the hell is this?
And that's because that's the thing, because we don't have that mindset.
Yeah.
We don't have the entrepreneur mindset,
Yeah.
a business owner mindset.
Yeah.
We think that everything is it needs to be easy.
Yeah, you just do it. Yeah.
Here's the thing and go do it.
Yeah.
And it didn't work like that. It was taking a lot of my time. And I guess I didn't want it to go through that process.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was a mindset thing.
Yeah.
So what I did is I started to focus on one thing in my business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to focus in one thing. And so I started to focus on figuring out how I can have a better system or better procedure, better team in the flipping side. Not too much on the acquisition, but on the flipping side.
So you were good at acquisitions. You felt like that part was dialed in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so what I did is I hired a project manager
Okay.
and a transaction coordinator
Got it.
for the flipping side.
Yeah.
And so I hired transaction coordinator, project manager, and then maybe 6-7 months later, everything was running really smooth, on the flipping side.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I was managing my project manager, but the project manager was doing all the hiring, all the renovation, managing timelines, managing budgeting, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the transaction coordinator, obviously, all the transaction, as soon as we get under contract, they
take
take
it over.
Yeah. And then they pass it to a project manager. They handle all the renovation. If it's ready, they send it back to transaction coordinator. Transaction coordinator schedules pictures, staging, and put it back on the market. And so, so that was our process. In 2020, I was no, I was still in my office from 9 to 5 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays. Now, I think for me, it was that's fine. I can be here because that's part of my business. But I wanted to be able to have more time with my daughters, like be able to take them to school and to go to, drop them lunch, like be able to do more.
Yeah.
And also I was thinking, like, how can I grow my business, like, even more? And so I noticed that one of the things that was taking a lot of my time was the acquisitions.
Okay.
So I went back to the acquisitions. Like, I went back to restructure that. And because at that time, we were already doing cold calling, text messages, voice blasts. We were spending like over $16,000 in marketing campaigns. 16
a month?
A month.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just on cold calling, text messages, because we stopped doing like all the other stuff.
Who were you guys using for RVMs, texting, and cold calling?
Podio, smartphone, like, back, that was what we had.
Back then,
back then it was like the best. Or
who'd you guys use for RVMs?
You know what? I can't remember.
Was it like Roar?
Yes,
yeah.
It was. Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick story. So I think it was 2018, 2019, right? I was already flipping houses and all this stuff, and I heard about RVMs. So we start sending out RVMs, and we start crushing it, right? So then I'm like, dude, let's just scale this crap to the moon. And I'm not saying we sent over 100,000 RVMs a day, but I don't know. It's possible, right?
Yeah.
So we are just killing it with RVMs, and I ended up getting sued. So I stopped.
Yeah.
But back in the day, that used to work. And I'm not saying I did or did not send that many, but
how much did that cost you? If you don't mind?
It wasn't that expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time it wasn't that expensive.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why.
100,000 a day.
A day, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But if it's like 0.001 cent or something like that, it was like so small.
And I think, and actually, for you, that was your result, right? Like you finished because of that.
Yeah.
Mine was because we had a phone call, and we were like, she was like, the guy on the other side was like, yeah, I want to sell my house. Like, come over,
Yeah.
We show up to his house, and I was training my team at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, I'm going to train you. Let's go. This is what you do.
Yeah.
We step in. He comes out very mad. He starts taking pictures of ourselves, our plate, license, like everything.
Yeah.
He was like, but before that, like, he got our information, like, what's this mean? Like, I really want to sell my house, but I want to make sure that you guys are legit.
Yeah.
So we gave him like a lot of information. We even showed up to his house, and he was really aggressive to the point where we were like, I'm not doing this. Like,
going on appointments?
Yeah, going to appointments, and because he was like, I got you. Like, you've been calling me every single day. I've been getting your voicemails like every single.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, you think that it's just us? Like, there's a lot of people out there that are calling you probably.
Yeah.
But, anyway, so I think that got, too far, to the point where I was like,
yeah.
I don't want to know if I want to expose my team to that.
Yeah. So I'll tell you our story really quick. So we're sending out the voicemails, right? And then we're doing so well in our local market, we start just expanding throughout all of Southern California. So this guy in Northern California, we send him the voicemail. I hear my acquisition guy talking to him, and the guy was like, yeah, I want to sell. And then whenever our acquisition people were talking to someone and it was a good lead, then I would come and listen and kind of like coach them through it and figure out the price. So let's say the ARV, we're looking at Zillow, is worth 400. He's like, yeah, I want 200 for my house. And then I was like, okay, that's weird. Like for him to go that low, that fast.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, ask this, ask that. And then while he's doing that, I'm looking up the owner and stuff. And I'm like, okay, his name is not the owner of this property. So he's like, yeah, man, what's the name of your company again? Like, what are you guys? Okay. And what's your name? Got it. Okay, cool. And he just kept asking a lot of direct questions.
Right.
And then he asked a question. He was like, hey, so I want you to send me your do not call policy. And then I was like, shoot. I was like, hang up on him. So so my
End of
acquisition guy.
Yeah.
So my guy hung up on him. And then And then literally like 7 days later, we got a letter in the mail, and this guy looked up my acquisition guy on Instagram and then saw all this crap, and he's like, yeah, like in the lawsuit, he was like, you know, I'm not gonna say my acquisitions guy's name, but blank, you know, he's driving a nice car. He's obviously having success, and he's breaking the law. He violated the TCPA Act, you know, blah 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 blah. He wanted like $15,000 or something like that. So then I was like, all right, I have to handle this because I'm the business owner, even though I didn't really get sued.
Who else?
Yeah. So I could have just fired him, but I was just like, all right. Because I told them before, I was like, you don't need to give people all your information. There's no reason to give it to them. So long story short, I hired an attorney, which was another mistake. So I hired an attorney. I had to pay them $5,000 retainer. And then this attorney supposedly worked with wholesalers and people who got in trouble for the TCPA Act. So she starts messaging the seller, who was a litigator, to try to settle, right? And then she starts arguing with him. And then I was just like, hey, like, why are you arguing with him? Like, I see the emails going back and forth. I'm like, why are you arguing with him? And she's like, well, he thinks he knows it all, blah, 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 blah. I was like, dude, like, you need to, like, try to make things cool. So I ended up paying her, let's say, $5 to $10 grand. And I was already getting irritated because now we had to go to court and all this crap. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call this guy. So I called him. I was like, hey, man, like, this is Brian. Yeah. I apologize. I'm sorry. And then he's just like, you're an attorney, this, and blah, 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 blah. And when I was talking to him, I was like, you know what? I never Googled this guy. So while I was on the phone with him, I Googled his name. Literally, I'm just going to say his name was Brian for me, as an example. I Googled him. It said Brian versus Sunrun. Brian versus Wells Fargo. Brian versus, so he would just, he sues everyone. And then I could see all the cases, and he won or they settled. So I was just like, this guy's not dumb. Like, I'm not going to just make him go away. So I was like, hey, man, like, what do you want? He was like, honestly, I just want an apology, and I want $10,000. And I was just like, dude, I really apologize. You know, can we settle at like 5? I don't have a lot of money, blah, 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 blah. And then we ended up settling, I think, for like 8 or something like that. But
after you spend
So it ended up blowing into this big old thing that I could have like ended it super quick. But yeah, you got to be careful if you're cold calling, text messaging, or sending out RVMs now.
So honestly, like I said, for the last 4 years, a little bit more, we haven't done any of that. I was like, I'm done.
Got it. So what do you guys do now?
So what I do right now is we work with real estate agents.
Okay.
So we find agents, we qualify them, make sure that they're the right fit for us, make sure that they're going to perform with us. And then from there, we set up a pay structure. They're outside our payroll, you know, because they get commissions from the listing. However, for any property they bring us off market, you know, if it's like a pocket listing or things like that, like we set up like where we can give them a compensation, like a marketing fee or something. So they don't give it to anyone else, you know. They can send it directly to us. And then we train them too, like on systems, like, hey, you know, this is how we analyze our deals. This is how our market looks like. This is what we're buying, how to walk properties, like all that process.
That's crazy.
So that way we don't have to do anything but sign offers, basically.
Got it. And like, how many deals have you done so far this year?
This year we have done about 24. 24? Yeah, a little bit more than 24.
Flips or wholesales?
You know what? I think most of them, 80%, 70% are going to be holds. Like we're going to hold them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the other 20, 25%, we're actually flipping.
Got it. Okay.
So we changed the strategy a little bit because we've been finding a lot of properties on the MLS at a great discount where I'm like, hey, we can do a cash out refinance. Like why are we going to flip? Yeah.
How many rentals do you own?
Right now, I own like 25 or something.
And how much do you make in cash flow from those?
You know what? I'm not too much into a cash flow person.
Got it.
I'm more back into the equity.
Appreciation.
Like I want appreciation. I want equity. Cash flow, probably like $3,000.
Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's not much. But I think when I first started 7 years ago, One of my biggest mistakes was not holding anything.
Got it.
Like I spent like thousands of dollars, you know, buying properties and millions of dollars buying properties and giving millions of of dollars in equity.
Yeah.
And so, like for example, one neighborhood that we're working in right now that we recently just closed 3 properties in the last few weeks. That neighborhood, we used to buy our properties for $80,000 to $90,000. And right now, we're buying those properties for $200,000.
Yeah.
Double the amount.
Yeah.
So imagine if we would have kept those, right?
Yeah.
Like we flipped like probably like 20, 25 properties.
Yeah.
So we'll be setting like more than like close to $2 million in equity.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because we didn't hold. So
yeah.
I don't want to make that mistake again.
What about like how much money do you think you've made in total flipping and wholesaling?
Oh, like the whole, oh my goodness. Probably like, I would say close to probably 7 million.
Damn, yeah. $7 million?
Yeah,
And what's like the most amount of money you made in 1 year flipping and wholesaling?
1 year was probably like 1.3, 1.4.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get back to like, your evolution in the business, but I want to share with you. So when I first started, right, I was a realtor and I used to work at like restaurants. I didn't have like business, background or whatever. And I used to ask a lot of questions when I first started because I'm like, I'm going to learn from my elders. That's how I'm going to kind of learn, right?
Yeah, that's how we learn.
Yeah. And then what I realized this year, I was like, you know what? I stopped asking like older people or older investors for advice. I think because I've done, 400 transactions now. I own a bunch of real estate and all that stuff. And I think I just I just stopped asking, right? So this year I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to asking for advice. So what I do whenever I have like big investors, like I've had Pace, I've talked to Jamil, I've talked to like Brandon Turner, I've literally talked to everyone, right? And I always ask them, I'm like, hey, if you could go back to being 33, because they're all about 10 years older than me, would you do anything different? Every single person gave me the exact same advice. Do you know what it is?
I can't imagine.
I wish I would have held more property.
Oh,
all of them. Literally, it doesn't even fail. They were like, Pace said the same thing. He
Pretty
was
much what I just say right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pace, I was talking to him backstage at WealthCon, and he was like, dude, my first few years, I wholesaled. The houses that I was wholesaling were worth $90K in Phoenix, Arizona. Now they're worth $400K. His net worth would be double, like over and over. Like every single investor I've spoken to has said the same thing. So that's funny that you brought that up because it's true.
Yeah. And I think not only that, but I mean, for a lot of years, like I only flip houses and I didn't even keep one to depreciate, for tax purposes. Yeah. Like I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of, like I said, my biggest mistake, that definitely, don't want to make that mistake again. And sometimes we think like, okay, well, now is not the perfect time, right?
Exactly.
So, like we think like, oh yeah, no, now is the perfect time. You should never, today is the perfect time.
Exactly.
Like it will always be today. And so right now, like for those properties that I have, I think I have like $1.8 million in equity.
Okay.
On those properties.
Yeah.
That now we can leverage, that we can roll into something else. We can use as collateral. So I think that's the biggest thing for me right now is like we flip, but now we're more curious. More cautious on like what are we flipping?
Yeah.
Like it needs to be something that will give us like great returns. We're kind of like cherry picking like the ones that we want to hold.
Yeah.
Versus just like wholesaling everything.
How much do you typically need to net to flip a house?
Well, in my market, I mean, because every market, it's different. I mean, California, we can net like $300,000-$400,000, right? Yeah. But for Charleston, especially in the medium end, probably is going to be around $100,000, $135,000 per
net?
property. Yes, net.
So you guys net over $100,000 on all of your flips?
Most of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get into like how people could do that, but okay, let's get back and try to finish the story. So, next 6 months, you bought 30 houses. You realized you didn't want to spend so much time. You started systematizing the project management, the TC, the acquisition, and then what happened after that?
So we started. We changed the acquisitions into 100%. Well, say 100% MLS with real estate agents.
Got it.
Then with real estate agents and everything like blew up. Like didn't have to walk properties anymore.
Yeah.
Didn't have to call anyone. Sellers didn't have to manage anyone.
Yeah.
Because our agents were managing themselves. It's like, hey, if you want a great year, then you have to,
How many agents did you have?
At that time, we had about 5 or 6 agents.
Oh, okay.
But honestly, like, I don't need that much. I only need maybe 3 agents. And the reason why is because once they get it on board and, they do the business very well, like they bring us, like one of our top performance agents right now, in the last probably, I will say like 4 months, he have made $250,000.
So what are they doing to find deals?
So what they do is they're always on the MLS every single day.
Okay,
like
they're
looking at
scraping the
new
MLS.
listings, looking at new listings, looking at.
I dropped my ring.
Let me drink some water.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's interesting too because my business model has always switched. So sometimes I was doing RVMs. Once I got shut down, I started doing MLS and wholesalers. And then I'm like, man, I want deeper deals. And then I went into texting and cold calling. And then I got tired of that. And then I go back to the agents. So yeah, I kind of like the business always, I feel like, changes and evolves.
Right, yeah. No, so our real estate agents, like what they do is we kind of like break it down into like new listings. New listings, 30-day listings, 60, 90 days, 120-day listings. Pocket listings, wholesalers, like our agents even send us wholesale deals too. Like we don't even have to, search for ourselves. And so like they will send us, like we're literally like getting deals in our inbox instead of leads.
Yeah.
So we have they understand our purchase criteria, our buy box. They understand what we buy, where, and at what price, what type of renovations do we do. So that kind of like helps them to understand, like, okay, I'm not going to send this to Ruby because I know she's not going to buy this.
Yeah.
And so they send us, we put about probably like every single week, we put about 25 offers.
Okay.
Because for every 10 offers that we put, we get 1 deal back. So we're buying about a few properties every week.
You're buying a few properties every week?
Or wholesaling, because we also wholesale too. We recently closed a double close a few weeks ago. And where, like, I guess for our market has been one of our biggest double closes that we have made.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty about real estate, like being able to do something without money.
Yeah.
Even without flipping the house.
Yeah. How much did you make off that deal, double closing?
It was close to $400,000.
You made $400,000 on one deal.
Yeah.
And you didn't put any money into it?
No money no money at all.
Yeah. So we have coaches in the Wealthy Investor. Their biggest deal was like about $350,000 or something like that. Same thing. They double closed a deal.
Yeah.
That was on the MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that in Charlotte, North Carolina?
Charleston,
North
Make
Carolina.
sure that you guys don't go to Charleston.
Yeah.
Stay here.
Yeah. Or if you are, hit her up.
Yeah. Make sure that you call me.
Yeah. We'll put your stuff in the description if people want to hit you up for deals.
Yeah.
But okay. So you started fixing all that stuff, and then what happened? What year was that?
When everything changed when
you got
2020.
2020. Got it.
And you know what? It was 2020 because we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So you're
So
forced to focus.
So we focus on the MLS,
Yeah.
like strongly.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then what happened 2021, 2022, and then 23?
Well, since 2020, we hit 7 figures, or in net profits. Then from there on, we're basically been keeping our numbers at 7 figures. And this year, like, we're actually hitting 7 figures. Maybe in the next few months, we're gonna hit that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're gonna make like
Yeah.
7 figures in like 8 months.
Yeah.
And do you feel like stressed out? Do you feel like you're overworking?
Oh my gosh, no, I feel so good. I'm on vacation right now.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching your
Yeah.
Instagram where you're kind of like, I'm
Yeah.
like, she travels a lot. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
no, I love going to the ocean. I love spending time with my girls, my husband.
Yeah.
And I think, like, this is rewarding. Like, this is why I am doing this.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I started.
Yeah.
And I see, like, so many people that sometimes they get stuck
Yeah.
where they at. And I have seen people that maybe they're flipping 4 or 5 flips a year.
Yeah.
And they're spending way too much time.
Yeah.
They're still at Home Depot, Lowe's, walking properties.
Yeah.
And I always tell everybody, like, hey, like, there's the easy way.
Yeah.
You just got to go for the easy way. Think outside the box. What's taking more of your time? How can you put maybe a better system, a better person, right? Put
Yeah.
roles instead of tasks.
So what does your team look like? That's a good transition. So what does
Yeah.
your team look like now?
So right now we have 2 project managers. We have 1 transaction coordinator. And then we have 3 agents that we work with. And
That's
that's
it.
it. Yeah.
Okay. How do you pay your project managers?
So my project manager, what we do is we do a base by commission.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like per-
commission. So we do a salary too.
Okay.
So we do $1,000 a week.
Okay.
And then on top of that, they get like 5%, 10% commissions on the total renovation of the property.
Okay. So if it's
Yeah.
like $50,000, they get 5% of that.
$5,000, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And then our transaction coordinator, same thing, a salary, and then they get commissions on top of that. We also give them a transaction fee, $350
Okay.
on each property that we close. And then there's also room for them to, like, hey, if he wants to go and find us a deal, himself without
Yeah.
agents bringing deals, then we'll also do a split on, and a bigger commission basically for
Got
the
it.
properties that they bring.
Got it. Okay.
And our real estate agents, they get paid by the seller.
Oh, by the seller.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't pay them
unless they-
anything?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
we only give them the listing side when we flip the property.
Okay.
If it's going to be resale. If they bring anything off market, we give them the 3% commission. Some agents, like, we're also doing a flat fee, like $5,000, for
Yeah.
the property, at $10,000, depending on what area. So we kind of like break it down in low end, medium end, and high end. So the more, the higher end, we pay more because I know we're gonna make more if it's off market.
Got it. What do you
yeah.
think as far as what do you do every day?
That's a good question. You make me think now. What do I do? Well, yeah, I mean, I wake up, I get my girls ready to school. I have a baby. I have a 1-year-old baby. And I think that's the most beautiful thing is that I spend all my time with my baby.
And how old are you?
I'm 32. Well, I'm going to be 32 this year.
Okay, 32,
Yeah.
and you have 3 kids.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. And so I think everything that I can do, like in my business, I can do it from home. And I'm with my baby like literally all day.
Interesting.
Like I don't have to put them into like
daycare
or anything.
babysitter.
No.
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 So you don't go on no appointments.
No.
Do you walk properties?
No, I don't walk properties. I probably walk maybe 1 time every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's if it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the one that we closed recently, the one that we made almost $400,000. That one I had to walk that property.
And that was from an agent.
That was from an agent.
Bro, I'm doing this business completely wrong.
That was from an agent, and we didn't even put money on escrow until we finish like our due diligence.
Okay, so let's go into like the tacticals of everything. So you said you make normally 6 figures on every single flip. right? What do the numbers typically look like on those types of deals?
So those are going to be purchase prices of roughly like $350,000, $400,000. And we're going to resell those for like $700,000, $800,000.
So you're buying them for like 50% off?
Close to, yes.
How?
On the MLS. So what we do is we put offers on the MLS. And here's the thing. Like, a lot of the times we think that if it's a property on the MLS, it's been on the MLS for 120 days, right?
Yeah.
And it's had, let's say, $500,000. And we know that we can't pay that.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is maybe they're not going to get offers, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to go for 30, 60 days, no price reductions. And we're assuming that they don't want to do a price reduction, that they don't want a low ball offer, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like our bread and butter for us. Like, this is kind of like what we do every day now.
Yeah.
And so those are the properties that we like because we know that we can negotiate with them by asking.
Yeah.
So that's why I go back to, you know, what I learned from this lady was like, hey, Ruby, if you never ask, the answer will always be no.
Got
so
it.
we learn how to ask on the MLS. Like, if they're asking for $500,000, like, hey, this is our offer. This is how much we can pay for. You know, here's our offer on writing.
Yeah.
And then we get either a rejection or we get a counterback. Once we get a counterback, then we have due diligence. We can go back and get them down if we need to. And by explaining why, you know, like, this is my reason. This is why I need this property at this price, you know.
And then are your flips that you're making 6 figures on, are they usually track homes, or these are like unique properties that, you know, are like one of a kind?
They're medium end properties. So they're properties, normally they're going to be two-story houses that are in good neighborhoods, good subdivisions.
So they're in subdivisions. It's not like a ranch style unique.
Well, you know what? We do both. We do both. So some are in subdivisions and neighborhoods, and some of them are like out there.
And then are you pushing the comps? Because if they're listed at 500 and you are reselling that house for like 700, you said? So like, isn't that enough spread right there if you're buying it for 500 and ARV is already 700?
Right. No, we don't buy it for 500. So
no, but I'm saying you said they're listed for 500.
500, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally, I mean, if they're listed for 500, like, we have to pay like $300,000 for it.
Okay.
So we have to
get them down.
Negotiate $200,000.
Yeah.
And normally that's how much we're negotiating right now. One of the last properties, the property that we made close to $400,000, I brought them down $1 million, close to $1 million.
How did you do that? Let's teach people how to negotiate. let's teach people how to get people down in price. So do you talk to the seller or I'm sorry, does the seller or the agent?
Just my agent.
You just talk to your agent?
The only person that I talked to was to my agent and our end buyer.
And your end buyer. Okay. Yes. So, how do you get people down on price? Okay.
So, I mean, every situation is going to be different.
Yeah.
You know, because the motivation and everything, it really depends. So, understanding what's their motivation, why are they selling the property, understanding where they're at right now, how soon do they want to close the property, are there anything else that we need to know? So, for example, for this specific property, we knew that the seller had their parents living in the property, and they were going to buy another property for them. Okay. So that's key. Yeah. You know, like, okay, they need to buy another property. Like, they're looking for another property right now. Yeah. They were out in vacation, the owners. So that's another thing that helps too, because when you're on vacation, you're not thinking well. Yeah. Yeah. Right? I mean, like, you're not thinking about work. Or about like this other stuff. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. They're not focused. Least, I'm focused. But no, it's so they think, you know, it's the situation. So the situation will help a lot. So the house was listed like probably like 2.7 million. We called the agent. And hey, you know, this is like kind of like where we at. What do you think?
Yeah.
The agent said, no, we're not getting a low offer.
Yeah.
Like, you have to come close to listing price. And then close to listing price is probably going to be like a 2.5, you know, 2.6. Yeah. And we said, you know what? Let's write our offer, 2.3.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think 2.1.
2.1.
Yeah.
And they're listed at 2.7.
Yeah. And guess what? We got a counterback.
Okay.
Counterback. And then once we went back and forth on the price, we settled for a 1.150.
2.15.
2.10. Yeah.
Okay, 2.1.
2.150. Yeah.
Got it.
How much is that? You know, like $600,000, $500,000 less.
Yeah.
When they say they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna entertain that offer.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key.
And then you resold it for 2.4.
No. Then once we were under contract, we went to dealer inspections and everything, and we did another price reduction.
Okay.
The other price reduction was like $300,000 less.
Yeah.
So we ended up buying the property for 1.8.
Okay.
They counterback.
Yeah.
At 1.9, a verbal counterback, and we said 1.8. We'll give you $10,000 more. So we did 1.810.
Damn.
And they said accepted. They signed they ratified a contract, and that's when you think like, okay, it was totally worth it. You know, like sometimes we're afraid of like asking again.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is where we need to be. We're still in our due diligence.
Yeah. And then you wholesaled it.
Yes. Double close, because it was it was going to be a big assignment. So we did a double close.
And you double closed it and sold it for what? Like
for 2.2.
Damn. You're a savage. You seem like a nice person.
Hey, I am a nice person.
Yeah, but you're a killer, dude. Holy moly. That's funny. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But because when you do those type of deals, those are like momentum. You know, those are like the deals that get you going. Like, you know, like, this is why I'm here. Like, this is what I've been working for so long, you know, for this type of deals.
What about, okay, so let's talk to the house flipper that they're usually making 20 to 30K, right? Because in Vegas, that's very normal. I'm pretty sure it's normal over there too. Because I feel like your net profit is above the average.
Yeah.
I feel like. Did you have like a thought one day where you're like, I don't want to flip houses for 20, 30K anymore. I want to like make more?
Absolutely. And a lot of people laugh of me because of that.
Why?
Because one day we were sitting down with other people that were, you know, flipping too and all of that. And I said, I'm not going to flip any more houses that I'm getting, you know, $20,000, $30,000, $35,000, like anything that's below $30,000 basically. Yeah. I'm not flipping those houses anymore. And everybody started laughing like, hey, you know, like, hey, like what about if there are 10 of them, you know, like 10 times 30. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think it's worth my time. Yeah. Because I feel like for me, it has been like and this is why this is why I love my husband, because of the mindset. No. That's not my husband. It's a lot of mindset, you know, when it comes to like hitting big goals and being able to do outside the box. Yeah. And so I said, like, one of the things that he asked me is like, Ruby, how much is your time worth? Yeah. You know, like put a number on your time. And I was spending like 30K 6 months, 4 to 6 months for 30K. Yeah. When I can be doing, you know, a higher end property, medium end property, where I'm spending the same time, and maybe let's say one extra month more, and be able to hit, you know, 130, 150, $200,000. Like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Like, it's gonna be less stress, and I'm not taking that stress, but it's stress for my team. Yeah. So especially my project manager. Yeah. And so one of the things that I noticed when we were doing like $20,000, $30,000 flips, I noticed that our time for renovation was getting bigger. because we had so many
Yeah.
properties
Yeah. Houses sitting.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And so we had a problem, like houses that were sitting there for 1 month before we even start the renovation.
Yeah, that happens. That happened to me before,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of happening right now, where it's partly project manager, but then it's also we have so many deals, and then you just.
Yeah.
I've had properties where I kind of forgot, where I'm like,
Exactly.
where I'm like, damn,
I
I've
knew we
owned this
had
house.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 3 houses. We were working on our KPIs the other day, and I was like, hey guys, like, I think we're missing some houses here, you know, because we got so many. Like right
Yeah.
now, we have like over 20 projects going on right now.
You have 20 flips right now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, I think we're missing. You know, we're missing some houses here that we haven't even started.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're missing 3 houses.
Wow.
I mean, my team has all the numbers, obviously, and all the
Yeah.
houses, but it was me and my brain, you know, putting them
Yeah.
together. I was like, hey, I think I'm missing like 3 houses here.
Yeah.
Like, which are the other ones? And I think, you know, that's the thing. Like, when it comes to flipping so many, like, small properties,
Yeah.
like, it's so, like, frustrating, I will say, for my project manager.
Yeah.
I think it's like I have to, not because we have a project manager doesn't mean that, oh, he has to handle that. No.
Yeah.
I feel like, how can I make it better for them?
Yeah.
You know, how can they do more? How can we earn more with less stress?
Yeah.
And so we found that sweet spot, you know,
Yeah.
between buying on those 400s, 300s, and
Yeah.
reselling for like $700,000-800,000.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, I wanna get into the tacticals of the construction side, like how much you're paying price per square foot and all that stuff. But you said a really good line. You said, how do we earn more with less stress? So because I didn't come from money, right? And I watched
Me
my
too.
mom, yeah, and I watched my mom work really hard. Like growing up, I always watched her work 2, sometimes 3 jobs. So as soon as I turned 16, what did I do? I went and got 2 jobs, and I've always been like working. And then when I got into real estate, I was like, oh, dude, I can make a ton of money. So I'm just going to work like crazy.
Yeah.
And I knowingly was like, dude, I'm going to push myself to the brink to just make so much money. And then I ended up actually getting sick. So my thyroid got messed up one year. I had more deals. I probably had like 20 something deals at the time going on. And I was like so stressed out that I actually got sick. And then I was like, oh, like I can't do that. I can't push myself to that. And I think, yeah, like that has been something that I'm more aware of now. Like, okay, like
Yeah.
I don't want to push myself to be stressed to make money because it will end up,
It's not worth it.
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And someone that doesn't have money, they're like, oh, these people are ridiculous. Like, this is dumb. Like,
Yeah.
but it's the truth. And it doesn't, in real estate is, it sucks, but it's easy. Like people think
Yeah.
it's hard. It's easy. I guess it's simple, but it's not that hard.
Right.
It's really not that hard. When
They
people
make it hard.
they make it harder.
Uh-huh.
They're like, well,
Yeah.
I don't know anyone with money. It's like, bro,
That's the first thing.
yeah, that's the first thing. But in the United States, is there a shortage of money?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, there's millions and millions. There's 300 something million people. If you can't figure out how to raise 100K, that's on you. Like, it's not that hard. Or
Yeah.
there's no deals. Trust me, if you go anywhere in the country right now, if you go to Zillow, start scrolling through the houses on the market.
Oh,
If
yes.
you see houses that are fixed up and vacant, someone's flipping that house.
Right. There is deals.
There is deals. I promise you, they're there.
Yeah, mhm.
And the same thing with construction, or even finding wholesalers. I remember when I first started, I think it was like 2018, 2017, I was buying from like 3 wholesalers. And then I was like, man, I can never get more than 1 to 2 deals a month. So I told Ryan, I was like, Ryan, I know all the wholesalers in Southern California. And he's like, Brian, you think the 3 wholesalers you have are all the wholesalers in Southern California? You think you know all? There's 30 million people that live in Southern
Right,
California.
yeah.
You
You
think
would
the
think-
3 that you have? And I was like, oh yeah, no, you're probably right.
Let me go back and
Yeah,
find more
I had a
wholesalers.
mindset shift,
Yeah.
and then magically I find more wholesalers.
Yeah.
So usually it starts with like mindset and
Oh,
like
yes. 100%.
non-belief and a
Yeah.
scarcity of like what's possible and what's not possible.
Yeah, I ended up on the ER in my first years because
Really?
I lost my earnest money. So
So you went to the hospital for
yes,
it or what?
Like yes, I mean I lost my earnest money, and on top of that, I paid like a 1,800 bill from
Yeah.
ER. Yeah.
For what? Like what happened?
It was a flip. Well, actually, a property that I put under contract. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
I lost my earnest money.
Yeah.
I think it was like $1,000.
Yeah.
And then I lost, double the amount because I had a headache. I started to have like a lot of pain, like
In your head?
in my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had big headaches. Like they were so bad that I was on the floor. And my husband saw me on the floor, and he was
Really?
like, let's go. I'm going to take you to the ER because you can get like a stroke or whatever. Like, let's go.
That's scary.
Yes. But that was, and now that I go back and think about that, like I have lost $50,000,
Yeah.
in a flip.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But it's like you said, it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, everything is a risk, right?
Yep.
And sometimes like we don't think about like structuring even our offer.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we go and we put offers, like we think that it has to be this way, right?
Yeah.
When it can be this other way where it's less risk,
Mm-hmm.
where you can actually, and also like on the properties that we buy now, it's like we need to have exit strategies.
Yeah.
Like if I can buy this, can I wholesale this?
Yeah.
Or what else can I do? Can I buy it as a rental property? And at that time, everything that was in my mind is I want a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, like all my mind was like, I just need my deal. I just need a deal.
I make
That's all.
$5,000. It's a deal. Yeah.
I just need a deal. So
Yeah.
I lost the deal. I lost my earnest money because I didn't want it to, because it ended up not being a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I was not gonna close on it, and also my finances, at that time with our Harmony lender was like, no, this is not a deal. So we're like, and so we put it was not contingent to financing.
Yeah.
And then, and then from there I was like, hey, this is a mindset thing. Like, you have to have your mindset the right way.
100%.
Like, that, you're gonna, you're gonna win, but there's gonna be some times where you're gonna lose too.
100%.
Right? Like, nothing. It's like.
You don't win all the time.
Right.
No one's business is like.
No.
Like, oh, win. You're going to go up, you're going to go down, you're going to go sideways, you're going to get stagnant, you're going to go up. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we learn, right? And that's like moments in your life where you feel like, okay, what did I do wrong? Like, okay, this is exactly what I did wrong. This is what I'm going to do next time.
Yeah.
So as long as, I guess, we don't make the same mistake over and over. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about KPIs. So we'll start off with the construction and then acquisition and then the capital. So like, what does it normally cost you to like flip a house?
Flip a house, you mean as far as the systems?
Construction.
Construction. For a low-end property, it's going to be around $35,000 to like $60,000.
Do you know like price per square?
Oh, price per, yeah. It's going to be, for low-end properties are going to be like $45, $50 per square footage. Yeah. High-end properties like maybe 80, 85.
Okay. Got it.
And then our medium 70.
70.
Mm-hmm.
So minimum is about $45 a square foot.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about, are you using licensed contractors for everything or how does that work?
No. So what we do is we have one general contractor that we work with. So they pull all of our permits.
Got it.
And we have subcontractors that we've been working with, and we, always looking for new ones too. But we have a great team that we've been working with, and so our project manager handles like all the subcontractors.
Yeah.
And he's the one communicating with the GC so they can pull the permits. We don't do anything directly with the GC.
Got it.
It's just it costs more for us.
Yeah.
It's more expensive. And then we also work with some remodeling companies, like local remodeling companies, which I think it's great. At least for our market, like we're able to get better pricing and also they work on our timeline.
Yeah.
Versus a project manager.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, a GC.
Yeah.
But with a GC, you work with their timeline,
Yeah,
with
they're
their
busy.
budget.
Yeah.
You know, and all of that. So.
What about design? Who designs your flips?
Design, well, normally, I mean, we already have a design because we've been doing this, you know, we've been changing like things too. So as far as design, we already know what to do. Like our project manager has the same design every single year. So like this year, let's say we do this by the end of the year, we get together and we think like, okay, what are we going to do this year? Okay, we're going to do this type of accent walls.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, how we redesign. And then we do like small changes. We're also looking at the market, like what properties are listed right now that are fully renovated, that are on our price points, or properties that we're reselling, and how long did it took for that property to go under contract.
Yeah.
And if it took like 2 days, you know, 1 week,
Copy it.
we're gonna copy that.
Yeah.
So we don't need a designer.
Yeah.
Unless we're doing like a high-end property, like $1 million property, then obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when I first started too, because I do not have an eye for design. Obviously, you could tell. Look at this tree. You know what I'm saying? So,
actually, I love it.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah. But when I first started, I was like, dude, I don't know what color to paint. I don't know. I didn't own a house, so I was like, I don't even know what color white I should get, and I was just kind of stuck in that. And then I learned, like, dude, just copy. Literally, whatever you see that looks nice, show the contractor. Go there, see if you could find paint in the garage. Like, literally, just copy whatever's working, and that's kind of. And I do the same thing. All my flips look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like I hate design. That's
Why
something
reinvent the wheel?
yeah, and I'm just not good at
there.
it. So I don't even. It's so funny. Everyone's like, well, you know, like HD TV. I was like, bro, I don't even want to go to the flip at all. And I don't. And then they're like, hey, do you like this or this? I'm like, I don't care. Don't call me. I don't care. I don't want to know. But
and I think that's one of the things too that we learned with our project manager is like, you need to learn how to make decisions.
Yeah.
Like, don't call me for a color. You
know?
Unless it's like, unless you have like, oh, here's 5 colors that we're trying to put in, you know, today. I'm sorry, this year. Okay, then we can sit and talk about that. But any colors, like, you already know.
Yeah. Don't ask you. Yeah. What about on the construction side? Do you guys stage your houses?
Yes.
You stage them
all
all
the time.
And how much does that cost?
Right now we're paying about $3,000. $3,000 through $3,500.
Got it.
Yeah, per property.
Got it.
I used to be my stager though.
Okay, you used to stage everything.
It was taking a lot of my time, and I was like, no, like I had so many furniture in my house. Yeah. And then I used to rent a U-Haul every time, you know, we do a new staging. But yeah.
What about, so I think we kind of covered the construction. Let's talk about the money. So do you fund your deals yourself, or are you raising capital for everything?
So I do a little bit of everything. So sometimes, you know, if it's a deal that we can afford, then we'll just pay cash for it. If we have or if it's like a double close, like, you know, with, that are, you know, that if we have the cash, then it's obviously cheaper for us to do that. But then we also have private money lenders. So hard money too. We work with like 3-4 different hard money lenders.
Who do you guys work with typically?
Who?
Yeah.
Brass Financial is one of them.
Oh, they're not here.
Rehab Wallet. No, they're like more like in the
east side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we do hard loans. Then we do. Sometimes we combine them with private money lending. Yeah. Sometimes we do all private. So it really depends on the deal and the size too.
Yeah. And what are you paying typically for points and interest on your hard money loan?
We have some great connections with private money lenders that we work with. However, sometimes we end up paying more than we should, but the process, it's easier, you know, with a private money lender. Easier, faster. So from 11% all the way to 15%.
Annually.
Yes.
And they fund 100%, or do you still have to put a down payment?
100% for the ones that are 13 and 15.
Okay.
And the ones that are less, it's 90%.
And that's for private
for
money,
purchase
not
price,
for hard
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Okay. And no points.
No points. Well,
Yep.
I mean, combined with hard money lender too. because
Yeah.
Hard money probably going to be 9.5 to like 12%.
And no points?
2 points.
2 points. Interesting.
2 points.
I might be able to help you with that. So
Oh, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
So I've been paying like 1 point for years.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
1 point and like 9.5. Some when it was really good, like 8% interest. But then I know that there's people paying no points. So
Yeah.
right now I'm like haggling them.
We have
I'm
to
like,
find those people.
yeah,
and we
yeah.
gotta
No,
build our
I know who they are.
relationship,
I know who they are. Have you heard of Kiavi?
I have heard once.
Yeah.
But I haven't. Yeah.
So they're the cheapest that I've ever worked with. I paid 2 points, 2.5 points. They're a big company, so this is not like a mom and pop shop. Like they're gonna like, they want the contracts, they want the title work, they want everything clean.
Yeah.
I worked with some lenders where they're like, give us the RPA and escrow instructions. Bam, here's your
Yeah.
loan docs. They're going to take a little bit more time, but like if you're saving money on every deal, and then like I said, I know they do no points for some people for sure, because I know them, I talk to them, so I know
Right.
they do it. But
Right. Yeah.
what about, so we talked about the money, construction, acquisitions. Okay, what are like KPIs on the acquisition side that you like pay attention to?
Yeah. So our KPIs for acquisitions will be because everything, like I said, most of that is MLS. So we kind of like break it down into like I said, new listings, 90-day, 30-day, 60-day listings. Then one of the biggest things that we have is follow up. So our KPIs will have like addresses, the date that we put the offer, how much did we offer for the first time,
Yeah.
how much was that renegotiation, where did we ended up with that property, and then like every other 2 weeks or so we do a follow-up. So we kind of like clean our search into like all the properties that were rejected. Now it's like, okay, now we're going back, you know, to like where are they at right now.
Yeah.
Have they changed the price? Have they, you know, removed the listing? Like
Yeah.
where are they at? And about 30% of properties that we're buying, they are from following up for the
Following up.
properties,
Yeah.
following up from the properties that were rejected.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you know, like you said, it takes about 25 offers to get a deal?
For us, it takes about 10 offers.
10 offers. But you're not offering on everything then?
No, not on everything. No, I'm leaving some room for my competition. You know,
Yeah.
so I can get some too.
Yeah. So
But
what do you
no.
guys typically offer on?
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Like, what do you guys typically offer on? Like, when do you
Okay.
know if you should make an offer on the house?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we're always looking at the MLS. Our agents are. So any new listings, like we make an offer.
Yeah. Even if it's fixed up.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So it has to be properties that need or cosmetic all the way to like, you know, full renovations. And then what we do is, so new listings, they have to show that the property needs probably like maybe, I will say like $20,000 worth of repairs. If they do, then that's something that we'll put an offer on it. And then we also look for, like I said, we always go back to search for our 60, 90, and 120 day because sometimes we miss properties. So I think that's the biggest things for us is like, and that's why we have to be in the MLS like pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Because our agents will find properties that they didn't found, 2 days ago
Oh, okay.
that were, still in
Yeah.
on the MLS.
And you only work in one city? Or you do like all the cities?
We have like 4 or 5 different zip codes.
Got it.
And cities, we have like 6 different cities, like around our area.
So it's not the main city of Charleston only. It's like surrounding cities
Surrounded,
also.
yeah, like all the low country, we call it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then what about, so do you have an office or no?
No, I used to, but not anymore.
Dang,
And
so
I love
everyone's
it.
virtual?
Yeah.
Dang, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
What about okay, so let's transition to rentals. So what type of rentals are you looking for?
So I'm looking for rental properties that will require probably no more than $35,000 worth of repairs. Our purchase price will be in the mid hundreds,
Okay.
even to like $200,000, low $200,000. Anything, they have to give us at least a 1% rule.
After fixed up or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, for example, properties that we're all in, let's say we bought it for $150,000. Well, let's say $180,000. We put about $30,000. That's 210 plus closing costs and all of that. Let's just call it like $230,000 all in.
Yeah.
I'm just making up a number
Yeah.
in there, but if we're getting at least not 33, but I will say like I'm sorry, not 23, but 2,500
Yeah.
a month, then that's a deal for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like
So
1% or more.
1% of more.
Yeah.
Of the total cost.
And then do you have to burr them or are you leaving money in the deals?
For some of them, we're doing a fixed rate for some of them, but for some of them, we do the burr method, especially because sometimes we're buying properties where we're a little bit off. So we have to compensate that with the cash out refinance.
Got it.
Yeah. So
And
we kind of like do it on packs, like every 5 properties or
Yeah. And what do you think as far as are you only doing single family or are you trying to do multifamily or what are you doing?
So I'm a limited partner on multifamily with other great amazing people that I know that have built good relationships with. However, that's not my niche. Like I don't. I think they do it better.
Yeah.
Then so what we do is I focus on the real estate flipping, wholesaling, double closing, like all that kind of stuff, and then I just invest with them as a limited partner. And however, because we have built equity right now, and we're looking for our first multifamily.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the houses that you're buying, they're straight single family. They're not even duplexes, fourplexes.
Well, we do have some duplexes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're not targeting them at all.
No.
Got
if
it.
they come, if they see, if it's on the MLS, we'll take it.
Okay, so it has to be straight off the MLS, pretty much.
Yeah.
What
or
about?
it can be from Craigslist, like any other pages, but our agents are the one who are sending those.
Got it. So what about, I'm sure there's going to be people who listen to this who are like, dude, she just has it all figured out. Like, she's just so smart. Like, what were some of like your struggles through the last few years?
Well, I would say like not the last few years, but I actually came to the United States when I was 8 years old. And so I didn't speak English. And when I was in school, I didn't learn English that well because everyone that I was with, they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And so when I started real estate, like that was kind of like the moment where I was like, I need to learn better English, And so I think for me it's like you said, like a lot of people think like, oh, she has it all figured out. Like, like I didn't have any money when I started, right? Because I gave it all. My English was like not what it is right now. Like I think that it wasn't like this, and for the last few years, like the struggle that I have had has probably been like how to scale. Yeah, like how to scale. I don't know if I want to scale.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
You didn't know if you wanted to scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like how much will that take to scale?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm in the moment right now where my kids are little. Like I still have a 8-year-old. My baby is 1 year old, and I have a 12-year-old. And so I feel like I don't want to lose those moments of their lives, especially my 12-year-old. Like she's almost like she's on this stage where she needs me, you
Yeah.
know, like I need to be with her. And I've been seeing it like, and so I don't know. I think it's that like I need to figure it out like how to scale where I won't hurt them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you don't want to lose your family
Yeah.
over money.
And that's kind of like what I've been thinking, I guess, for the last few years. That's kind of like,
Do you feel like you want to scale back, or do you feel like you're good now?
no, I feel like I'm good now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I feel like I'm good. I feel like this is, but I don't want to be in the comfort zone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know that we can do more.
So
but
you
I
wanna
just
do
feel
more.
like I want to do more, but I'm trying to figure out how,
Yeah.
you know?
What about, I guess, in your vision of doing more, what does that look like?
Doing more is multi-million-dollar flipping business. Doing more is having more passive income.
Yeah.
Also, probably start buying multifamily that's already fixed up. That's
Yeah.
you know that's already what's it called?
Cash flowing?
Cash flowing.
Yeah.
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 So that's
yeah.
kind of what I'm working on right now. We're actually putting an offer here in Texas for 60 units.
Okay.
We're still back and forth, but that's what I want. Like that's
Yeah.
I think that type of scaling, like
Yeah.
being able to put more units on our portfolio and
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm doing right now too. So
yeah.
in the next 30 days, I don't know when, like literally whenever I have a gap, I might even leave on Wednesday. We'll see. I'm the type of person, I don't like plan things out, but I'm like, I want to go on a trip across America and I want to
Fun.
go look at different markets
Okay.
and figure out like a cash flow market that I feel comfortable
Okay.
and scale my rental portfolio more. I think I have like 20 something units right now. Probably cash flow 5 to 8K a month on a great month. And then CapEx sometimes will wipe it all out.
Right.
But I want to get to like a solid 10 to 20K net after everything. So that way I just have like breathing room. And like I've
Right.
always been like very frugal. So like my house is paid off. I don't have
Yeah.
like debts and all this crap.
Yeah.
So that's like what I feel like my next thing is. And I want to keep, scaling my flipping business, but I'm not like crazy, like, oh, I want to scale to, $2, $3, $4 million right now. Like I'm willing to just like be patient and let things play out and not overstretch myself.
Right.
Yeah. So what about, okay, let's transition to faith, right? So you're a Christian, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what has it been like keeping your faith while, running your business?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. I think it's a little bit hard.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit hard because I feel like God needs to be everywhere in everything that we do. And sometimes we make decisions without consulting God.
Okay.
Like for example, I'm gonna go and make this deal happen, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be like, I'm gonna go ask, right? Like, what do you think about this? Is this worth for me? Is this something that it's gonna help me? Like, that's gonna kind of asking his permission, his getting his approval.
Yeah.
For the things that we do. And the reason why I say this is because sometimes I have made decisions without his approval, and things don't go well, And so I'm that type of person. Like everybody has their different beliefs about God, right?
Yeah.
But my belief is like he's in everything, and if I don't get an approval for something, it's gonna go not too well, And so I think a week ago, someone was asking me, I met with some private money lenders, like 4 of them. They were from, I think they were coming from, I can't remember, Washington. And and we were talking about like how can we help each other and everything, and how can we do business together. And he said, Ruby, why are you doing all of this for?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have a why?
Mm-hmm.
And I just told him what it was in my heart, right? And I said, yeah, I'm doing all of this because I want to retire my parents, because I want them to work in the ministry. They love the ministry. They love like God and, you know, and how to like, I would just leave it at, you know, all the ministry for them. And they are so passionate about Jesus and about helping others that I said, when I'm successful, I'm going to retire them so they can go and they can focus on that. And so last week, I was able to retire my dad.
Dang.
And I was like, man, like this feels so good because God knew what I had in my heart and he made that possible.
Yeah.
The very first day that I started all of this, like real estate, about my businesses that I have built, I remember that I was in my room and I said, I'm going to start a business. And I got on my knees and I said, Jesus, like God, like I know that if I bring everything to you, like you will make this happen. So I don't want to start anything without you, without you being first in my life, in my business. And I remember those words. And from there on, everything that we've been doing has, you know, we always make mistakes, right? There's ups and downs. But I believe that because I trust in him, I know that everything is going to be fine. And I know that we have a purpose in this life.
Yeah.
I think we all have a purpose in this life. Even someone that's listening to us, you know, right now, like that will be listening to this podcast, they have a purpose in life. And there's a reason why. So I feel like God has a purpose in my life. And because I'm doing real estate and all of this, this is part of his purpose. I don't know where I'm going to go. You know, I don't know where it's going to take me. But when I was able to retire my dad last week, I saw that. And I was like, this is why.
Did you retire your mom or not yet?
Not yet.
Why?
Not yet. But I told her, Mom, you're next.
Why haven't you retired her?
No, not yet. I probably will, though.
Yeah.
Sometime. Yeah. Hopefully by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do it now?
Wow. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. You know, they're so passionate about God. When we were on our way here on the plane, my mom was saying, Ruby, this is what we have prayed for. This is why I lost my brother 2 years ago. My mom was completely lost. She was completely lost. She was not, after he passed away, my parents, like, it was like they changed completely. Like they didn't have any other choice but to serve God. And they give, and I saw that, they give their life to Jesus completely. And she said that since then they've been praying to God every single day, like, this is what we want to do. We want to go, we want to spread the love, we want to go save others, you know, show them your way. And she was like, Ruby, like, she was thanking me, you know, but also God, she was like, thank you so much for, you know, I know that there was this, that you had a purpose. And oh my gosh. Yeah, I think you just made me thought about that. Yeah.
We might have to take a break or something.
I didn't imagine our podcast going this way, but
I'm like sweating. All right. So, I need a freaking towel. I feel like I'm sweating and crying at the same time. I'm not even crying, I'm like tearing. Okay, so before we wrap up, I usually ask people, like, what is your favorite Bible verse?
I can do all things through God that gives me strength.
It's like Philippians, right?
Yeah, Philippians 4:13.
Yeah. I think Philippians 4:6 is like my favorite Bible verse. Yeah. Okay, so for people listening to this and they want to find you, where do they go?
They can go to Instagram, The Real Ruby Tinoco. I don't know why I put the real, because I saw everybody putting the real, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna put the real. It sounds really real. And The Real Ruby Tinoco. They can find more about me too on autopilotflipping.com. I actually started a coaching program.
There we go.
And then Facebook, The Real Ruby Tinoco on Facebook.
Okay.
Or just Google it too. I think I should be there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We're going to leave everything in the description of this video. But for people listening to audio, that's where they can go. Thank you so much for coming on. This is a great podcast. Thank you guys for listening. If you're still watching, make sure to subscribe to this channel. And we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.